Welcome back for another draft. Today, we're drafting the top 10 running backs for 2026 fantasy football. And this was the key to winning your league in 2025. And I think it's going to be the key to winning your league in 2026. Regarding 2025, that's not just my opinion. Right here, I've got the list of the top 50 players on Fantasy Football Championship rosters. You can see out of the top 12, 6 were early drafted running backs. We got Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, showing that your first 3 rounds, especially that first and second round, you need to get a quality running back, and that's what we're going to practice today. And for that first pick, in my opinion, it's got to be Bijan Robinson. I love the new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Great offensive mind. He's going to know how to use Bijan effectively. This guy is young. He has good health. He is the heart and soul of this Falcons offense. If they move the ball, it's moving through Bijan Robinson. You know, that volume is exactly what we're looking for fantasy football. I know some of you may like some other options like CMC, like Gibbs. We're going to talk about them early on in this draft as well. Let me know who you would take with the first pick here. But Bijan as the second best player in 2025, especially if you're a little superstitious. No RBs repeat as the RB1. Bijan as the second best running back this year. This is his opportunity to be the best back in 2026. Pick 2 does have to be CMC. I know he's getting a little bit older. I know he has those kind of on years where he's healthy, where he's amazing. He was the best in fantasy football this year. Then he has those off years where he gets injured. But these injuries, they're not predictable. We don't know if they're going to happen or not. It's not like they're a reoccurring type injury. And he was healthy this entire year. So if he can go into this season, the 2026 season, fully healthy, especially with a longer offseason this year, getting eliminated in the second round of the playoffs to the Seahawks, this is a good opportunity for him to go into the season healthy and be a top-tier pick. I want to know if you guys would take him first overall, but for me, he's an easy second pick, meaning if I draft in fantasy football next year, I definitely want a top 3, top 4 pick so I can get Bijan, CMC, or one of the top wide receivers. And this is where Gibbs comes off the board for me. I am a little worried about his performance in the fantasy playoffs. This offensive line is not the best like it used to be. We see in the fantasy football playoffs, he had a 9.8 point performance in full PPR, and in the championship, 6.4 points. Now, in between those games, he was absolutely insane. You can see 38.2, 55, 37, 22, week 18, 20 points. He definitely has the capability to be a top-tier option, but I am a little bit worried about this team being on a little bit of a downtrend. They lost some offensive linemen to retirement. They lost Frank Ragnow. They didn't run well. It was really PPR saving him each and every week. Now, they did get a new offensive coordinator. We're going to have to see what he plans to do. They may also lose Montgomery this offseason as well, and if they do, some people will be taking Gibbs all the way at number 1. I'll be tempted myself as well. But with Montgomery currently on the roster, with the offensive line struggles, I'm trying not to disrespect him. I mean, he's the 3rd best running back, but I know some of you may want to take him a little bit higher. Number 4, and someone who is actually really consistent. You saw him in that top 12 on Fantasy Football Champion rosters, Devon Achane. We look at this Dolphins team. Doesn't really matter who the quarterback is. They need to get him the ball. With his speed and big playability, that's exactly what we're looking like for fantasy football. I mean, he doesn't need that many touches to be amazing and carry your week, and he kind of did that this year. And if they do give him a lot of touches, he's just even better. That's why I have him as a top pick this year. Unfortunately, heading into the 2025 season, he had that calf injury, which was extremely scary, which made him fall back in draft. So he helped you in your league if you were brave enough to pick him, but it was a little bit scary. Hopefully he goes into this season fully healthy, and if so, I see him as a top pick. He's definitely going to be a first rounder, someone that can win you your week with that explosiveness, and they're really going to be the core of this Dolphins offense. I'm not sure who their quarterback's going to be. They probably won't have Tyreek Hill, so it's going to be Jalen Waddle. They may add some other weapons in the draft, but this is a lot like the Falcons, where they have some other good players like Drake London, like Kyle Pitts, but this is going to be the Devon Achane show in Miami. Another league winner here, James Cook. Let's take a look at his player card this season. People said there's no way he scores the same amount of touchdowns as he did in 2024. Well, he didn't. He did even better. He was absolutely insane for fantasy football, especially in the touchdown category in the fantasy football playoffs. Week 15, 31 points. Week 16, 26 points. Now, in the week 17, obviously, not the best. That was a tough, rainy, Eagles have a great defense kind of game. Not the best Bills performance, but in the good weather, even in the, just any regular game, he was absolutely amazing for fantasy football. And the Bills will have a new head coach. I'm not really worried about it. James Cook is the heart of the run game. Josh Allen, as much as people love the guy, he's not a great deep passer. I know they don't have the best wide receivers. Keeping things close to the line of scrimmage is the advantage for the Bills. You have to have someone on Josh Allen. You have to be monitoring these wide receivers in the short yardage, which means James Cook is hard to catch. He's got that good vision. He can bounce runs outside exactly like he did to my Steelers earlier this season, absolutely carving them up. He is going to be a touchdown machine into next year, especially in this weaker division. The Jets, not the strongest team. The Dolphins, not the strongest team. They get 4 games against those guys every year. The Patriots, definitely a tougher matchup for sure, but James Cook did drop 31 points against them in their second meeting this year, and he's going to be a dominant force in next year's fantasy football. That brings us to the halfway point in our draft. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to have weekly drafts, stay in that fantasy football mindset and have some fun, hit that subscribe button because we will be posting these on a weekly basis. Now, this is definitely where things get a little bit more challenging. Player number 6, I've got Jonathan Taylor, who was the 3rd best running back in all of fantasy football this year. But I will note, week 12 through 17, he dealt with some quarterback issues, dealt with some tougher matchups. He was RB15. So definitely fell off a little bit towards the end of the season. Considering he gets his quarterback back, or at least somebody capable in 2026, the team looks pretty good. They have some good young weapons that are going to distract from the run game, like Tyler Warren. Alec Pierce looking great as well, forcing the defense back. That's going to open up Jonathan Taylor to still have some great success next year. And if you can get him at near the end of the first round, which is exactly what that's going to be, around the 6th best running back, he's going to be a perfect pick that you can snake around with another running back, wide receiver, maybe even a tight end like Brock Bowers or Trey McBride will be there as well. Thinking he's going to be a great pick, and one of the reasons I'm going to like having a pick at either the beginning or the end in fantasy football next year. Now, Chase Brown is one of the reasons I made my fantasy football championship this year, and I think he could rank even higher come draft day. I could see him as high as this number 5 or number 6 spot because he was that electric when Joe Burrow was back at quarterback. Let's take a quick look at his player card at the end of the season. Look at this: 18, 16, 32, 29, 19. I mean, Chase Brown was absolutely electric. When Joe Burrow's healthy, when this offense is cooking, Chase Brown's going to be amazing for fantasy football. And again, he helped me make my championship in my league. I drafted him a ton last year. It was unfortunate we lost Joe Burrow because this would have been a legendary season for Chase Brown. But for that reason, he's going to be a little bit cheaper than he probably should be in 2026. Definitely a top player to keep tabs on. Another reason you want to subscribe, because we're going to be calling these players out all summer long to remember these guys. Chase Brown, for me, let me know in the comments, by the way, if you would take him even higher than this. But he's got to get respected as either the end of the first round or beginning of the second round kind of pick, at the very least going into 2026. Now, this is my least confident pick so far, but I'll say in a few seconds why I do think Saquon Barkley does deserve to go here. But man, it was unfortunate. I drafted him so much in 2025. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity. I wanted Bijan over Saquon. I just didn't have that opportunity to pick him in that spot. But Barkley, what I like about him, he had an early offseason. They did lose in that first round of the playoffs. That's going to be a longer offseason. Last year, he's coming off that Super Bowl win, played into February, doing the parade, celebrating, all the commercials, all that. Not a lot of rest. This year, a lot more rest. The other piece, the Eagles' offensive line was really hurt this year. That's going to get a lot better heading into 2026. They also fired their offensive coordinator. That's going to help a lot as well. Mix things up a little bit, be a little bit less obvious. So Saquon Barkley, for me, definitely has room for a bounce-back season heading into 2026. I still think deserves some at least late first round or definitely early second round respect. Number 9 is maybe my most exciting player heading into 2026, Omarion Hampton. Because a lot like Saquon Barkley, and a lot of people forgetting this, the Chargers offense was absolutely decimated at the O-line. Of course, that makes it a lot tougher for the running back. I know Hampton, he was about RB16 this year, but week 4 on, he was RB10. He was a top 10 running back week 4 and on, even with the injuries he had himself and the injuries to the offensive line. This is definitely the opportunity for a bounce back heading into 2026. Number 10, I can't add yet, and this is honorable mention, goes to Ashton Jeanty, who is not quite top 10 this season. The Raiders O-line, I don't think quite good enough. Josh Jacobs doesn't have the explosiveness, I think, to be top 10. I do like him for fantasy football still, but just not explosive enough for top 10. I'm going with Jeremiah Love. He's projected to be a top 15 pick to the Chiefs, the Saints, or the Vikings. And you know, on any one of those teams, they've got Alvin Kamara on the Saints. He's a pass-catching back. He could step into that role. Goes to the Vikings, steps into an amazing offensive scheme. And you know what the Chiefs can do with a top-tier running back. And when he played for Notre Dame, he didn't have all the volume. He was still making huge plays, the explosiveness, a lot like what we see with Jahmyr Gibbs. Some people compare him to Reggie Bush. And over the past 5 seasons, we've seen Genty finish as the RB16. We've seen Bijan be RB9 as a rookie, Gibbs RB8 as a rookie, Ken Walker RB17 as a rookie, even though he wasn't drafted till the second round. And in 2021, Najee Harris was RB3. We've seen rookies be around that top 10, the 8, 9, 10 spot, sometimes a little worse, sometimes a little bit better. And that's why I think Jeremiah Love slots in really well around this 10 spot. Let me know what you think of this top 10. What would you keep? What would you change? And make sure you're subscribed, because we'll be looking at tons of drafts this offseason, keeping that fantasy football mindset and just be better prepared than our league mates so that we can take home the championship.